Brittany Renner transitioned to Islam to sleep with a married man, bruh.
I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills if I'm not doing what I've always done. And it's kind of like being a drug dealer. You're like, I'm used to this type of money. What happens now that I want to make legitimate money? What does that look like for me? This was my purification process. I'm tired of feeling like a circus animal.
This chick is a sociopath, bro.
Pretending to be something I'm not did not keep me safe. And in fact, it exposed me to even more torment.
Duh.
Big podcast mics, man. Throw away
What?
the podcast mic.
This is insane.
What up?
Welcome back, my very dear audience. We got one for you here today. And I don't know why them content guys just continue on blessing your boy, all right? Blessing the channel from the GOAT chameleon herself, the feminist mini boss herself, Mrs. Brittany Renner, all right, is back again with a brand new content gif, in it being that she has finally started that podcast. Yes, I've been asking for years now for her to start a podcast because I need more content, baby, all right? She needs to take some thoughts, put them up on wax so we can continue to diagnose, because she has an army of women, modern women right behind her that agree with things that she is saying. Nevertheless, the last time that we talked about Brittany Renner is when she officially stopped Muslim cosplay right after being dropped by Kevin Gates. By the way, he's upgraded by now dating a woman 15 years his junior. But yeah, Brittany thinks that the general population is interested into the words that come out of her mouth as opposed to the nudeness or lewdness that she displays on her social media. So we're going to have some fun with it. And then also shout out to Flacco, because he did the deep dive into her actual content, which I'm happy that he did, because it saved me vomit time. And it also allows me to focus on the solutions, the lessons that we can pull out of this circus. Without further ado,
Brittany Renner is attempting a comeback with this new podcast, but it's the worst podcast ever. I watched every episode. It's about 7 minutes each, but you take nothing from this podcast, bro. Like, you learn nothing. There's nothing to draw from this. Like, on one of the episodes, she literally admitted that she lies about reading books.
People have asked me, what books have I read to get here? I don't read many books. I like to have my own thoughts, come to my own conclusion. I love people and I love conversation. I love learning and bouncing perspective. But books, I'm like, there's a lot of books I bought on my Kindle, read a few pages, I'm done.
Come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, what are we wasting our time with, bro? And the reason why people is asking her what books she enjoyed to read or what books have helped her the most is because she has done content at Barnes & Noble. She has done content surrounding books. But she would admit that all of that is performative and her just trying to look different.
Same with just going to Barnes & Noble. I like the cover. It seems like a good idea, but I'm not even going to crack it open. It's, I don't know, maybe just for the plot and for my character being dramatic. And I'm so different. I'm in Barnes & Noble buying books.
oh, y'all thought I was tripping when I called her a chameleon in the introduction? No, it's exactly who she is. Pretending to be a deep book lover. Meanwhile, that's just an image that she wants to project because it sounds good. It sounds good to her brand and her image. Like, it's strong to be a woman that can put her naked body up on the internet and at the same junction be a deep intellectual thinker. Gentlemen, you gotta be very careful with these chameleon types, all right? Because they're not themselves. They are who they think that you want them to be. And oftentimes, when you lose your leverage, that's when their true personality comes out, or when their backs are up against the wall, or in times of conflict, or if you lose your ability to make money, that's when the real version comes out. By the way, who's in charge of your set design, baby? If you need some help, hit me up, Brittany, all right? I got some people, all right? Because I need your podcast to do exceptionally well. Looks like she decided to do a podcast at a damn funeral home.
I don't know about y'all, bro, but somebody who changes their personality this often, I don't trust.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear from. I want nothing useful from. This woman literally admitted, right, that she lied about reading books, and she goes to Barnes & Nobles and record content in Barnes & Nobles so she could kind of develop the character of a girl who likes to read books, but the only problem is she doesn't like to read books. Wouldn't just being yourself be a whole lot easier? But just like, you know, she pretended to be a girl who loved to read books.
Pretended to be a Muslim.
She also bastardized and pretended, you know, to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
Okay, when she had no intentions whatsoever of ever engaging or are following Islam long term. She did address during this episode why she played with these folks' religion, why she wore the hijab, pretended to be Muslim just for Instagram, just to hop right back on Instagram a couple months later in booty shorts, showing cheeks with no hijab, claiming that Islam is just not for you. So she addressed it, but she spent much of the episode conditioning us, and we didn't know we were being conditioned, but she were conditioning us to not be so harsh when we finally hear the reason why she decided to play with Islam, right? So she starts off by claiming that, you know, like she transitioned to Islam because she was bored.
When people question how I got to Islam, this was nothing that happened overnight. I felt like I was at my wit's end. I also was very bored with social media because I felt like I mastered it. I mastered the trolling. I mastered the sexy. I sneeze and I'm on the shade rooms. Where is the challenge?
Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now.
Some people get bored and they go back to college, they start a new business, they get a new hobby. She got a new religion, okay? Now, as she continues, bruh, it's just more brain rot. Like, she goes on to explain how her converting to Muslim was her way in being modest. She felt like she needed a way to stop, right, like dressing like a bop, stop wearing revealing things, right? Stop showing her Libya print to the internet. So Muslim was her way of dressing modest. And I'm just sitting back like, if only there was a way to act modest.
Right.
Without adopting a religion you don't believe in.
I think the word you're looking for is labia. But what I find so interesting about that is that she says that she's mastered social media. Think about the genjutsu that you have to put yourself into to think that she was a master of it. Just because you rage bait people and then you get people to talk about you doesn't mean that you're a master of it. Getting attention on the internet by doing opposite than normal shit is like not some type of like skill set that is noteworthy or is of major benefit, especially if your goal is to monetize, you know, not have to beg your baby daddy to increase child support for your lifestyle inflation, not podcasting out of a $2 studio where your camera is crooked. The real masters are the ones that can generate revenue out of that. And I'll tell you guys what, it is not even the content creators like myself that have really mastered it. It's those folks with digital products, something that they're selling, getting modest numbers, but making $50,000+ a month quietly, while also not having to deal with hate from your image. But just think about how bottom of the barrel of a thinker that you are as to use religion to create morality when you really are not about that life, but you're really just doing it for the image that you're trying to project or that it's trendy within the current social media zeitgeist. I feel bad for all of the Muslims that ardently defended her, thinking that she changed components of her life, but she had to go back to this after becoming a single mother. This was posted back in the end of October, by the way. She is the prime example that IG lust and attention can be a drug. She tried to change her entire life around and missed the attention so much that she ditched God for attention. Lord have mercy. This is the Brittany I love. Let's click in the profile. Oh, of course. 304s propping up other 304s for their 304 behavior will always be hilarious.
Here we go again.
Than what I am portraying. Feel like I'm more than this. That was the initial thought, the initial spark. And then it rolled into being drawn to Islam, Pacific Ocean. I know that I'm more than this. How do I get out of this? Because I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. if I'm not doing what I've always done. And it's kind of like being a drug dealer. You're like, I'm used to this type of money. What happens when I don't want to do that anymore? What happens now that I want to make legitimate money? What does that look like for me? I was being drawn to Islam in 2024. This was my purification process. I'm more than my body. I'm more than the sexy. I'm tired of feeling like a circus animal. And if I'm leading with beauty, body, booty, let me just take it away. I felt like a hermit crab without its shell. And Islam provided that protection I needed while I was rebuilding myself. Quite literally cloaked myself with my clothing, with my hijab.
This chick is insane, bro.
That's so crazy.
Yo, there's not two options here, right? The only two options are not become a Muslim or dress and act like an
because it was never real
and be a disgrace to your family. You got more options than that, bro. You could have literally been a human being who stuck with your religion, but just wear more modest clothing. Just don't act like how you were acting online. Just don't show your Libya print. All right? Just don't sleep with 100 different men in a month. You don't need Islam to be modest. But she told on herself. When she says this was my purification process, we know what that meant. Every bop transitioned to religion for the purification, right? They reach a point in their bopness where they have a hard time getting a man to take them seriously. They have a hard time getting rid of the stigma surrounding their name. They have a hard time outrunning their reputation. So they transition to religion so they can now be viewed as whole and born again. And that's what she did.
It's branding.
Brittany Renner transitioned to Islam to sleep with a married man, bruh. It's really that simple from my perspective.
Allahu Akbar. When I originally joined Instagram July of 2012, I joined for two reasons: validation and male attention. And now that I no longer need either of those things, I am developing a new relationship with just social media itself. So my posting has been a bit inconsistent. I've been Muslim for 5 months and I love it here. Haven't had a drink in 6 months. Haven't had sex in 8 months. And I changed my number 4 months ago. So if you went green, now you know why. This has been a really beautiful purification process for me of the mind, heart, body, and soul, and an opportunity for me to meet myself deeper. What I have discovered is how deserving I have always been and am. Even with wearing the hijab, trusting so much so.
This chick is a sociopath, bro.
To go back to square one after all of that lying is insane. She relapsed like a damn drug addict.
Don't buy nothing she's saying right. Bunk everything she done said in this video and she said right now. The reason why she really became Muslim, in my opinion, from my perspective, is so she can start messing with a married man, man. This chick is crafty, bro. Kevin Gates is Muslim. She knows he could have multiple wives. She wanted to be one of his wives. So she became Muslim and popped out married to Kevin Gates shortly after.
I've been seeing y'all courtside. He referred to you as his wife in videos. Is this confirmed? Like, okay, like, not my cousin. Where did y'all get? Let's go to the next question. Okay, so that's what's up. Congratulations. How is it being a wife? Like, what's your favorite part about being a wife?
He got closer.
Being with the person that I love the most.
Yeah.
His name
Echoes chambers through my heart. Wait, what's it?
in every chamber of my heart. So to be able to experience life with him has really just been a dream come true.
Yes. And on the show, have the girls been acceptance to your new faith as well on the show, or did you feel like you had to fight for that as well?
Again, I don't answer to mortals about, anything like that. But we got married April 6th and divorced May 28th.
Bruh. So you're divorced?
Yes. But there is a 90-day waiting period in Islam.
I'm not acknowledging that nonsense as no marriage, bro. Kevin Gates wanted to hit it and quit it, man. He got into it for a month, seen it wasn't hitting on none, and left. He hit it and quit it for a month and broke up with you and dumped you and left you to the curb. And then once she realized, right, once she truly figured out, bro, once she realized, man, that Muslim or not Muslim men, that men ain't ish and men are the same. Now all of a sudden she's back and she's liberated and she's free. Now, I feel like the most absurd part about this, man, is how she views herself as a victim. Like, she literally said the reason why she was acting like a bop, acting like a scallywag, acting like a predator, just acting like a waste woman, right? Which ultimately she needed Islam to save her from herself. The reason why she acted that way is because people had those opinions of her. So from her perspective, she thinks this makes sense. That because people were calling her a gold digger, a scallywag, a bob, promiscuous, like predator, that because people were calling her those names, that she then took on the identity of that as some type of coping mechanism, which I'm not buying at all.
Yeah. Well, she said it was due to attention and male validation, and I guess money would be a derivative off of all of that. But that type of content has an expiration date, especially if you want to be a mother. And I'm sure that those prior videos of her are not going to hold up well in the family court system should PJ want to use evidence against her. So she's kind of stuck between this rock and this hard place of appearing to be a decent person, a decent mother that is form fit to raise her son correctly, but also trying to make a career. Now, if she didn't prioritize in the short term her body and instead took all of those years to work on her skill set, work on talking in front of a camera, maybe take some extra classes, right? Do her research, read some books, then perhaps her new podcast wouldn't suck this bad. But to paint herself as the victim to her audience after all of that demonstrates why so many women get called out today for not taking accountability. Nobody forced you into that, ma'am. Those were your choices. Let's go.
Never knew I was capable of such discipline. There's a time and a place for everything. That's definitely something I learned there. Nobody is entitled to anything, not a handshake or a hug. And I am more than this physical vessel. Hijab or not, the right people, person, opportunities will see that. I got to lead with me. It was nice. Social media and the scrutiny that I was receiving on a daily basis made me feel like a Black widow. So I'm like, you know what? If that's what you guys think I am, then that's what I am. And I'm actually going to brand it on myself instead of bucking the narrative and saying that's not me. My belief was if I make myself big and scary, nobody will bother me or hurt me.
What?
Ooh, I'm the big, bad, succubus, manipulative, gold-digging whore. Ooh, watch out. When you see me, cross the street. Get up, move out the way when I'm on the sidewalk. Move. I thought that was keeping me safe. And that was easily debunked. Pretending to be something I'm not did not keep me safe. And in fact, it exposed me to even more torment.
Duh.
Big podcast mics, man. Throw away
What?
the podcast mics.
This
bro.
is insane.
Put 1,002% tariff on all podcast mics, bro. There needs to be a price if you want to purchase these mics to spew stupidity. You need to really.
That's actually insane that she came to that conclusion.
Pay a price, bro. This woman just said that she was shocked that she became tormented because she decided to present herself
As an evil person.
the worst characters that any woman could ever present themselves as, which is
so crazy because she just said a second ago that she mastered social media. She's an expert in marketing, right? Like, this is just insane. She's just such a liar.
gold digging predator who preyed on an innocent underage boy while he was in college, as a woman who is really promiscuous, who's getting trained right and left, as a woman who don't know how to keep her legs closed, as a liar and a goofy, as a skin. She decided that she was going to adopt all those characteristics according to her to keep herself safe, but she was shocked that it actually was tormenting. Yeah, duh. Usually being a terrible person is tormenting, right? And in society, usually people who are terrible and they're viewed as terrible don't really have a good time in society. Yeah, duh. But I'm not even buying it was an act, though.
Yeah.
I'm not buying this was some type of act that she was pretending. No.
It's
That
her.
was who she really was. That was who she really was. Now, this entire thing was like contradiction. She didn't blame people for putting those stigma on her while at the same time, like, admitting, right, that she went out here with the intent to make people feel this way about her, to live her truth, and put everything out there regardless of how people feel. So she went out of her way to convince people that she were these things. So then folks began to call her these things, and then she began to enact the worst possible versions of those things as a coping mechanism.
Man,
get rid of these podcast mics today. Bro.
Yeah, and the idea of those qualities or those characteristics not being her, but then still needing to migrate to a religion, albeit temporarily, as to provide like a protective shield while she found herself. Absolutely none of it makes sense unless you follow the money, because you understood that as her social media numbers rise, more than likely, the brand deals, the endorsements, the sponsorships would also rise with those numbers.
I wanted to accept these stories that how a woman should be, how a woman should act. Like, you can only get this if you act like that. I just have never subscribed to that. So yes, my function is I'm bucking that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to sit on this couch with Shannon Sharp, talk about my body count freely. It doesn't matter if it was 35 or 3,500. Because at the end of the day, I have to answer to the things that I do. I have to be okay with myself. I have to be able to look in the mirror. But I'm going to sit across from these polarizing personalities, share candidly in my car, post what I feel like. And I am going to get everything I want, and you guys are going to watch me do it. Years of exaggerating my personality because I felt like it was more entertaining. With all of the feeling the need to perform, for several years, I created my own pretty prison.
Deliberately exaggerated your personality, deliberately said things that you knew were off-putting for a woman, but it were your truths. Like, for example, 35 or 3,500 bodies, you don't care. You're going to talk about all the men in the industry you slept with.
Right. All the STDs.
And got your back broken with, and wanting to have 2 or 3 men at the same time.
Tricking sports players.
You did these things to yourself.
Yeah.
You got the reward because you got the fame, right? Like, you wanted to get famous. You got famous for it. But now, because you can't take the consequences, we all got to suffer for it. All right? Now it's our fault. We put these stigmas on you.
Taking no accountability and thinking that she can reinvent without consequences. Meanwhile, I've been saying for the past couple of years is that young women should not idolize this woman. But listen, family, you guys let me know what you think about this. Perhaps I'm being a little bit too realistic here. Perhaps you think I'm going a little bit too hard on her. Let me know down in the comment box down below. I just think that reinvention or reimagining yourself without taking responsibility or accountability for who you were previously is, by definition, a grift. She admits to playing a character, but I don't think that that character is too far distant from the truth. If not this, then what other rebrand, what other religion, what other chameleon cycle stage is this going to go through? But no matter what the stage, I'll be here to capture the disaster. But all right, guys, let me know what you think down in the comment box down below. I appreciate you for continuously rocking with me, and I'll see you soon. Until next time, peace.
So without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound with his MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.